Nothing says relaxing like firing up Windows 98 and enjoying some games from my childhood. However, this CD drive had something else in mind for me when I fired up Command & Conquer Alert. All was running well when there was a loud bang as it shattered the frickin' disk. It seriously scared both me and my partner who was in the room at the same time. I don't know if it was deteriorating plastic or a hairline crack that caused it to shatter. Maybe it was just bad luck. One thing's for sure, I'll be backing up all my original games now, just in case it happens again one day. Anyway, it's time to take the drive out and swap it in for a new old one. Even if I could get the drive working again, I don't want to risk it shattering another disk. This case is a bit of a bugger to get open. The screw threads are worn out, so it's just friction fitted. And there is a lot of friction. This is not really how a CD drive is meant to sound. For replacing this drive, I'll go with another beige drive to keep with the whole retro PC beige aesthetic. Unfortunately, I don't have another CD-ROM only drive. I do however have these two CD-DVD combo drives. One of these will have to do for now. Now that the drive's in, let's do a bit of a hardware tour. The bottom disk drive and the floppy drive don't have original rails, so they're installed a bit dodgy. The floppy drive is even poking out a bit further, as you can see. I've got a Sound Blaster Live CT4670 installed as the sound card. This has great MS-DOS compatibility for a PCI card and is easy to find good VXD drivers for Windows 98. There is a 100 megabit late 90s network card and a USB 1.1 card for newer peripherals and flash drives. The motherboard does report built-in USB in the device manager, but I can't see on the board where the connectors are. For the GPU, I've got a GeForce 2 MX400. It's a little newer than the rest of this PC, but has great performance and compatibility with DirectX 6 and 7 games. Also, it has TNL lighting support and the drivers don't have very high CPU overhead. For RAM, we have 3 sticks of 128MB PC100 Legend RAM, giving a total of 384MB. The CPU is a Celeron 300A, which is overclocked to 450MHz by increasing the bus speed from 66 to 100MHz with jumpers. It's been stable for over 20 years, so I think it's pretty safe running 50% faster than stock. The only other chip I've seen do this percentage of overclock was an AMD Opteron 144 that I had in 2006 on the Socket 939 platform. I believe this CPU is from the 49th week of 1998 as shown on the CPU card here. Now it's a little hard to see here, but this motherboard does have support for both AT and ATX power supplies. I used to be running an AT power supply on here, but it got a little unstable with I think some of the high power consumption of the GPU along with just running a bunch of peripherals like a couple of CD drives and that. So what I've done is I've switched to a more modern ATX power supply. That also allows the computer to turn itself off, which is interesting. When it was running the AT power supply, you're getting that it is now safe to shut down your computer message when you shut it down. And of course we're running an updated CMOS battery. Alright, let's get this beast closed back up and powered on. This PC used to be my sister's about 20 years ago, and I got it in about 2005 I think, so that's about 16 years ago now. And in 2009 I lost some of the components from it because I had them all scattered around when we were moving, and I think a lot of it got thrown out because at the time I didn't realize the value that the parts were going to hold in the future. So I lost I believe it was a Sound Blaster 16 sound card, ISA sound card, and ISA SCSI controller. Games from the era run quite good on it. You've got compatibility with most MS-DOS games all the way through to the late 90s 3D games such as Half-Life and Unreal Tournament. However, if you do want to run those games on this, you have to be aware that you're not going to get above refresh rate kind of frame rates. You'll be looking at around 40 to 55, maybe 60 FPS at the tops. But if you've got like a 75Hz screen, you'll be wanting to get a Pentium 3 or an early AMD Athlon to really push those frames. With new hardware being as expensive and hard to find as it is right now, it's really a good time to be getting into the retro computers, I feel. You don't need top-end components from any time period to make a good computer. As you can see, this one here runs so many games and runs them stable and well. And it's not overly fancy. I mean, 450 MHz Slot 1 processor is not particularly high-end for the platform, but it is able to give lots of fun, especially in older RTS games. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, as I've got more retro computer stuff coming. I've got much more retro computer hardware lying around, and I want to do some videos on software as well. Other than that, I've got a home automation series that I'm slowly making some content on, and also doing some home lab networking with modern hardware as well. So if any of that stuff appeals to you, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching and have an awesome day.